We are almost to the Booker shortlist, and I read 3.5 books. So throughout this, I'm going to talk about it. It was a little bit of a wild time because, yeah, I filmed traveling. So we're gonna have some raincoats. We're gonna have some crazy hair. We're gonna have some crazy thoughts. I loved some books, DNF some books, absolutely adored some books. So yeah, and I kind of wish I changed my entire order by the end. So yes, if you're listening to this, I am now going to go into the past where I will begin with Universality and then just go through the various times to talk about it. And yeah, I'm really excited to meet you there. Hello and welcome to Booker season. I am here at the cottage. It's wonderful. It's raining. I'm a little wet, but I'm happy. I am halfway through Love Forms and I'm really, really loving it. It was a little bit slow to start, but now that I'm into the story, I'm really into the rhythm and even just telling this woman's story and how she's framing it in memory. I love a meta-narrative where we're really looking both at the story being told and how we're telling it and then kind of playing with it. And maybe meta-narrative is wrong in that way, but a way that references the narrative and the fact that someone's telling a story and can't remember details. And pretty much the story is about a woman who grew up in Trinidad and she got pregnant when she was 16, and the beginning kind of jumps right into the moment where she is going to Venezuela to give birth. And she doesn't remember everything. And now we jump back. She's now 58 years old and her daughter would be 42. She got married and had 2 sons in England and was a doctor and then gave up her medical license in order to, be with her kids. And now she's divorced and her kids are, doing their own thing. But she really kind of thinks that the love that she has is to this daughter that she never knew. And she spends a lot of time looking for this daughter on online forums. And I love that it's kind of just discussing the stories of how people are on these forums in general. I love when we zoom out a little bit more from the person's perspective, but for many people, it's really good. The first book that I started off this list was Universality, and it's a very short book, so I should have finished it, but I was just really not in the mood for it. I really, really loved Assembly, but this book it's kind of set up like journalism. A journalist is looking and investigating a bunch of people who are on the commune, and there was a crime, and it's a lot about capitalism and all of those things that, it's a very interesting dynamic of the way that it's being told. I'm a person who tends to be quite anti-capitalist and very kind of pro-social stuff, but yeah, it's still a very interesting take that is being told. And then we're also following this woman who is ultra-right and the way that she tells her stories, and she's being interviewed as well. But you don't dive into the characters. This book I'm really, really loving that it's listed, and that I love stories that look at older women as well. We don't often get older protagonists, and yeah, I think we're learning a lot. We're having a lot of fun, and I just really love her narrative voice. I'm getting sucked into it. So if I look really tired, it is because I am. I am in a kayak. It is going wonderful. It has been raining this whole time. It has been a little brutal, but I'm for a kayak to finish Love Forms, which is absolutely excellent. I really, really enjoy this book. It is just... the ending just tugged at my heartstrings because it looks at the complicated dynamics of this young girl, Dawn Bishop, back in the day, who gave up her ability to be a mother at the time because of the social pressures and stuff like that, and also because she was 16 years old and she didn't know what she really wanted. And then as she looked back on her life, she regretted, and she had this continual pull of, I have this child. And even as she became a mother to her sons, she continued to feel this absence of her first daughter. I really loved how the story unraveled. At the beginning, I didn't love jumping in. I tend to love knowing a lot, and I don't love not having a ton of information to go on. But we get dived in straight at the beginning to her trip over to Venezuela. And yeah, throughout the rest of the book, we unravel, and she is looking at how she's telling her story, and there's different moments where she remembers things. And I think that happens sometimes when you're in a familiar place. You remember memories that you don't remember having before. And a lot of that is just the physical presence of being in a place that you haven't. And I love the dynamics of her family. She is really the only fleshed out character in this book. The rest of the characters are only through her point of view and stuff. But you can see the tenderness. You can see the experience of her aging and the way that changes the way that she looks at her parents, and the way that her parents change, and the way that her brothers change, and the way that her sons change. This is a book I think I will remember for a really, really long time. I ended up returning Universality to the library because I didn't end up finishing it. And I am sad because I spent most of the last 21 days trying to go through it, and also War and Peace, because I wanted to read War and Peace before I watched The Great Comet, which I did not end up doing before watching The Great Comet, but I'm really excited to continue on to it. And then I also was trying to read Universality, and I just wasn't being pulled in because the characters aren't that deep. Like, it's more of a concept book. I think that, like, I would go back and finish it, but I realized, like, I'd only listened to like 45 minutes of it in multiple readings, and like, in perspective, I was with people and I finished like a 9.5 hour audiobook because I wanted to find every opportunity to read it in the last like 2 days. You know, I went kayaking and I did a bunch of stuff so that I could, you know, read it, and I listened to it as I was going to bed and stuff because I was just so excited, and I listened to it sped up, so that's why I was able to finish it. But like, yeah, I really, really wanted to like prioritize reading this book. Meanwhile, in the like 2 weeks before, I had only read Universality for 45 minutes. Very cozy. I fell in the lake taking pictures, and now I'm very, very wet. I just got back from us taking pictures, which was really fun. We took pictures of my sister, and then we took pictures of me. And my second cousin was having the best time. She's 11. And then I was taking pictures in the lily pads, and I fell in, which was very fun. And I'm very wet, so I put my bathing suit on and a dress, and I'm gonna go to the dock. And it was very nice. It's been cold all week, and it just got warm. I've been listening to War and Peace, and I started Camilla by Burney, which is over 1,000 pages, but it's great to just go through, and the writing is just so wonderful. So I'm having the best time. Wow, I just came out of Superman. Incredible. I'm wearing purple and dress clothes to be Lois, you know, because I have to dress up for everything. But I have very, very much loved DC for about 10 years, and that's when I really got into comics, and like, I got into Young Justice, and then I got into comics, and I loved so much of it. And like, I kind of expected to enjoy this movie. I'd heard good reviews and all these things, and I came in and I just was so impressed by the fact that it felt like DC. Like, I've always had to say, like, yes, like, I'm a bigger DC fan than Marvel, but like, I like the movies better. Like, I don't like DC movies. They don't feel like they represent like the canon and the things that I really love. And like, I don't remember an adaptation since I was a child where like I came to something and I just saw the vision that I had seen that like I'd never seen represented before, and it was just like so special. I literally drove home, and the whole time I was just like, wow, 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 and like, it was incredible. I read Misinterpretation. It was brutal. It was very hard to get through, and I didn't like it. And the beginning, I thought there was some interesting themes, and then as we went on, it just kind of dragged. Like, the characters were not bad, nothing was bad, but it just, nothing stuck really. Like, nothing, you know, as a story gets told, like, it like gets into your mind and you care about it and you care about the things and what's happening. It just felt very random, and like, some of the things about domestic abuse and like immigration, like, they felt like they could have been themes, but they were never dived in fully. So instead, I just kept on wondering, why are we here? What is the story? I don't even know the purpose, and maybe it's just to tell a woman's story and how she's caught in misinterpretation. And it is interesting to see someone who cares so much about helping people. And even at the end, that's like kind of subverted by her mother talking about how like they helped the neighbor once, and then she continued to embarrass her because she continued to help her. Like, she could not stop. But I don't know if that's like an auto-fiction thing that like reflects the character, but it wasn't dived into a further thing. And I know that literary fiction is sometimes just that way, but it felt at the end where I'm like, what was I supposed to be taking from this? And what was the story? What were the themes that I was supposed to take? Because part of it is about returning, part of it is staying, part of it is all of these things, but I just ended up being confused at what was the point. And maybe it's just a woman's life, an Albanian immigrant, living life and having those trauma and having thoughts and going through her 40s. But yeah, I don't think it's a book I'll remember, and it was a hard book for me to finish just because I didn't have anything pulling me forward. We are currently 3 days out from the Booker Prize, and I read Editions last week, and wow, I really wish I had read this book first, because I think it would order the way that I saw the prize in a totally different way, because its themes were so interestingly weaved into so many things. Like I talked about how I didn't like Misinterpretation because I didn't understand the point. But upon reading Addition, I understood how those themes were echoed in Misinterpretation, and the same with love forms, and like the way that they all play with forms and with motherhood and with relationships and the kind of storytelling and stuff. And you see this in Universality too, which I'm so sad that I DNF'd. I could not get into it, and I needed to read love forms. And looking back, I'm like, I had like an hour left of that audiobook. I really should have just endured through. So I have no idea how that book ends. And I only read, 3.5 out of the 13 books. So I probably won't be able to predict a Booker Prize shortlist, but I really hope Love Forms are on it. I really hope Addition is on it. And I don't really know that much about the other books. I have 3 dilemmas in regards to reading the rest of the list. Some of them are on holds that are longer than the prize will be. Some of them are exclusive only to Audible, and some of them are not yet published in Canada. So I am hopeful that I will get to read some of them and that some of these books will be shortlisted. I'm really excited for Sonia and Sonny. I think that book will hopefully be on the shortlist, and it is a book that I am waiting on at the library, and hopefully when my library buys more books, I will be higher in the list. So that is my hope that will happen. And I just really hope that Love Forms are on it, and I hope Addition are on it. I think they're both really beautiful books. I can imagine rereading both of them and getting such an interesting take on them. I think especially like Love Forms is just such an interesting and beautiful book. And the way that it tells and the way that it looks at motherhood, like, and relationships, like all of these deal with motherhood in such an interesting way, in a kind of obscure, blurry way. And I'm really excited to just read the rest of the list and see the ways that they come together. So yeah, this is definitely not one of my most definite reading vlogs, and for that I am sorry, but I've had a good time reading this list, and I'm excited to follow the prize, and I hope that those two are both shortlisted.